On the passenger side footwell, you can pry this piece down, this plastic cover, which is also the floor vent. So go down with it, just like this. There's a wiring attached here that should pop off. There we go, remove that. And now if you look straight ahead, you can see the blower motor resistor harness right here. In the back there's a tab that you have to pry that way and down at the same time. I'll show you once it's off. Would have been easier if it was on the front side. There we go. All right, so this is the tab. You have to pry it out and down at the same time. Now, of course, assuming that your connector is bad, whether it's melted, corroded, or whatever it might be, you can just take out that whole resistor and replace it. It's held on by 2 bolts. Take that out, and then we would want to replace this harness with the connector. Now obviously my harness is still in good condition, and I'm only doing this to show you what the process is. So of course, if yours is melted, cut off the wires. If the wires are frayed or corroded, you would actually just follow the harness back to where you have good wire. So if you know that it's corroded here at the terminal ends, well, cut it here, check for corrosion. If it's still corroded, go back, peel this electrical tape off, just keep cutting back and back until you get good wire. It's important to make a good connection. The new harness has plenty of wire in it, so it actually has more than enough to go up and into the dash. So wherever you need to cut it, go ahead and cut it. Just for video purposes, I'm gonna peel back this electrical tape a little bit to expose some of the wires. And unfortunately, the new wiring harness is not color coded like the old one, but that's okay. We can figure that part out. So for now, I'm just gonna go ahead and cut the wires, assuming my connector here is damaged and the wires are good here. I'm gonna go ahead and cut them. Don't cut them all at once, do them one at a time. Okay, so I have wires here and my old connector right here. Now I have my new one here. And of course, I don't need all of this wire. I don't want it to just hang here. So I'm gonna cut these shorter, but I will leave myself enough room to put some connectors and heat shrink on it. Now I cut these even, and that's just because I wanted to get this connector off and set it aside. But here's a trick that you can do to make your end result look better and work better. Cut the wires at different areas. That way when you stack these butt connectors together, they don't all bunch up and you have this very fat harness all of a sudden. So I'll leave this one long, cut this one a little shorter, then cut this one even shorter, and I guess this one can stay extra long. That's fine. Cut this one back a little. All right, so now I have 4 different lengths wire. This one actually could go back more. There we go. So now I can basically stagger them as opposed to having them all in one area. The way I'm going to find out which wire is which is by looking at this connector here. So put them next to each other, and you'll notice that the yellow wire is the furthest to the left. So the yellow is my second longest wire. So I'm going to cut it right about here. And I'm just going to go ahead and connect them as I go. So strip the insulation back. I'm using this special tool for stripping the insulation, but of course you can just use a different type of tool that's more manual. This is a more automated process here with this tool, or you can just use a razor blade. Twist the wires together, get your yellow wire, strip the insulation off of that one, twist the wire. Because this wire is thinner than the provided butt connector, and you need this size for the provided harness because it's way thicker, I'm actually going to fold this over in half, put on your connector here, and then once you slide it onto one end, take your crimpers, match them up with the color. So I have yellow, I'm going to go onto yellow, and you want to crimp it down. All right, always give it a tug to ensure that it is crimped, which it is. It's perfect. Slide in the other end of the wire, crimp this down as well. Perfect, that's nice and tight. And now you just repeat the process for the other wires. So let's see, the next one is the blue wire. So we'll take this, strip this back, fold this one as well. All right, so here we have these connectors all connected up, and I'm going to use a lighter. You can use a heat gun or some sort of heat source and basically shrink this plastic shrink wrap around the wire to make a nice tight seal. If you use, and of course, just like with any source of heat, you want to be careful not to catch things on fire. Alright, those are all done. A heat gun is a better option, but if you don't have the little attachment, a heat gun will just mount the wires, and I don't have that little attachment, so that's why I chose to use a lighter. But this is better than nothing. Just obviously make sure that the flame doesn't burn through the wire or the insulation. And now I'm going to electrical tape all of it. I'm going to start my electrical tape up here, wrap it tight around the wires. All right, that's it. One layer is good. It should already be insulated by the shrink wrap and the connectors and everything, so this was just to make it tidy and looking a little bit better. So now let's plug it in. There we go, make sure it clicks. Push the wiring up, and now go ahead and test out your blower motor. Once you're sure that it works, let's put this cover back. Let's put this cover back, line it up with all of its mounting points. Make sure it goes over this vent here.